Hey there, Papper people. Recently, I did a video of the Inspire Sleep device. It is an implant that is a hypoglossal nerve stimulation device. It is for the treatment of obstructive sleep apnea. Now, in my video, I was very critical of the Inspire implant. Now, the reason I stated in my original video as to why the Inspire Sleep device, in my opinion, is not successful or why it's something I wouldn't recommend is simply because of the data that was used for FDA approval. They have these studies on their website. You can look at these studies. I linked to these studies in my original video. Now I'll summarize the data very briefly, otherwise it'll get way too long. It takes, on average, the apnea-hypopnea index from roughly 35 down to about 10. Now some people fall below 10, some people fall above 10. These are the people that completed it, that came in for their follow-up study. So there's like 120 from memory that didn't even come back out of the 500 that were sampled. And of those, best case scenario, I'm gonna repeat it, apnea-hypopnea index of 10. This means you're waking up 10 times per hour of sleep. If you're sleeping 8 hours, you're waking up 80 times because of an apnea or a hypopnea. I don't think that this is good enough. So that is my premise. And I am always very willing to look at anything I say or any of my opinions and challenge my opinions. I think that's a healthy thing to do. Always challenge your opinions, always assume that you might be wrong, and listen to what people say. So I invited people that have had Inspire, or even if they don't have Inspire, invited you to leave comments in the comment section down below of that video, and some people did. So this video is all about giving those people who use Inspire a platform to share their opinion. Now, much of what they're sharing are criticisms of my original video, and so I'm going to answer those criticisms as they come up. At the very end of the videos, I will have comments from Inspire users that are more negative. We gotta have balance. I'm sorry, it's probably gonna make for a long video, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it.
So here is some of the respectful criticism that I received, and I'm gonna go ahead and address as much of it as I can. Okay, Lisa Gainey wrote a very long, detailed response. What cracked me up about Lisa is she actually followed it up with a TLDR, too long, didn't read. My AHI went from it was like 44, I think, down to 2 with Inspire. It just cracked me up. I love that stuff. I'm sorry. You made me laugh, Lisa. Okay, so Lisa writes some really good stuff here. Okay, so she says, I'm posting a response to your video because she feels it has some misinformation. She says, so fact, Cpap does not work for every OSA sufferer. Yeah, I can't argue with that. It doesn't work for every OSA sufferer. Sometimes they require bilevel, sometimes they require bilevel ST, sometimes they require ASV. So she also says that her doctors were really frustrated because no matter what they tried, Cpap did not give her the desired results. Now, I haven't seen Lisa's data. I don't know, and I don't even know if I'd be correct. But what I do know is that she's saying, my doctor said it was a shame. She's one of the most compliant Cpap patients he's ever had. I know a ton of Cpap compliant patients. Exceptionally compliant. This is another shameless plug. I do a PAP therapy analysis through my website, axgsleepdiagnostics.com. I think I deal with people that are exceptionally compliant every day. A lot of them say that Cpap, they're more tired on it with it than without it. And what we find is that there's always these very little things that we can tweak. Mouth leaks, mask leaks, slight pressure changes, little changes in EPR, all kinds of things that doesn't really seem like it should matter, but it really does. So Lisa, I haven't seen your data and I didn't see what you're like pre-Inspire. But I am willing to bet that there's a large number of people that have a very similar story to you that we could actually clear up without going to Inspire. And I could get more people Cpap compliant. I'm not saying this like I'm some guru of sleep and Cpap and looking at Oscar data, but there's a lot of people that fall through the cracks. And I think that you may have been one of them. So here's another point that Lisa makes, that she says she felt that me saying Inspire cherry picks patients is puzzling. And she says that there's no reputable doctor that would perform a procedure on a patient unless they thought the surgery had a good chance to benefit their health. I agree with your premise there for sure. There are some doctors that do just want to do surgery. Yeah, you have to acknowledge that. But yeah, I'm saying that Inspire is cherry picking patients. So absolutely, I think they're cherry picking patients. And by that, I think you may be misunderstanding the point I'm trying to make. What I'm saying in the video is that when you consider all the patients that have done Inspire, they have satisfied all the criteria that Inspire has put forth that the patients need to meet to have this surgery done, to have the Inspire implanted. So from that aspect, they are cherry picked. So all of them have had a very specific obstruction in their DICE. Usually it's the tongue falling back in the airway. So the hypoglossal nerve being stimulated is going to move that tongue out of the way. So that's what I mean by they're being cherry picked. And when I'm saying cherry picked, I'm going back to the data. So the data is suggesting that best case scenario, most people are achieving at best an apnea-hypopnea index of 10. 10 to me is unacceptable. It's double that of the arbitrary number of diagnosing someone with sleep apnea, that number being 5. I think double that is not like a great number to shoot for. Their outcome is not that great. Now, there are outliers, and you're definitely one of them if you're saying your AHI was 2. So good on you for sure. You're definitely outside of the norm on that from what the data suggests, what Inspire's data suggests. She writes a lot of other good things here, which I appreciate. One thing she writes, she nails me on, is that Inspire is placed on the right side of your chest, not on the left, so as not to interfere with possible future pacemaker. Your hypoglossal nerve fires, your tongue is going to get tense or move around or whatever. So this works fine. So much of this, me going to the left side of my body, has more to do with me being left-handed. I'm not thinking about actually where Inspire is implanted. I don't really care where Inspire is implanted. It could be implanted in my butt. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the data. My main argument with Inspire is strictly the data. The data suggests that an apnea-hypopnea index of 10 is good. I'm saying it's not good enough. Then the answer to that is Cpap is not as effective. And I'm saying maybe Cpap isn't effective, but what I am saying is Cpap can possibly be effective with proper follow-up and actually looking at the data provided by the Cpap machines. But that said, there's also different modes of therapy. You have bilevel, you have ASV. All those different modes, you need to be checking the leak. You need to be checking other things other than just what is the AHI being reported by the machine. So I say false positives on all the negativity of Cpap, and I'm using Inspire's own data to do that. So poo. Lisa also says that the other lead, the sensory lead, is not in your diaphragm, which I did say, but it is instead in your chest. She says now it involves only 2 incisions, and they're no longer putting it in the 4th intercostal space. So she's right. I did say diaphragm, and that was when it was first presented to me long ago. I believe they were putting it in the diaphragm, or at least the rep that was repping it said they put it in the diaphragm. To me, this is just such an irrelevant point. You have a lead wire. It doesn't change anything of the functioning of Inspire. It's going to stimulate your hypoglossal nerve. I don't care if this is external, internal, in your butt. It doesn't matter. It's the data. It's the 10 AHI that is considered a success, the best case scenario on average. I just don't think that's good enough. It's going to be really hard to move me off of that position. This is another point Lisa brings up, that the Inspire battery must be replaced approximately every 11 years. I think I actually did cite that in the video. But then she says, would you recommend that people don't get pacemakers because they have a battery or because it involves surgery? I don't really see you have to draw the line between the dots because I'm not picking it up. But no, people, if they need a pacemaker, should totally get a pacemaker. I'm not even if Inspire worked and it needed a battery change, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I don't get that. Here's where Lisa points out that her apnea-hypopnea index was 44. She said with Cpap it at best got to 20, but now with Inspire she's at 2. That's great. She says she feels better. Awesome. I'm legitimately happy for you. That's great. She does mention that Inspire does not claim to cure sleep apnea. I don't know that anything claims to cure sleep apnea, but it's certainly implied, as does, I think Cpap is actually implied to cure sleep apnea as well, or treat it. She says, and she's not wrong, a treatment does not need to eliminate all symptoms in order to be deemed successful. But yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think I ever said that. Lisa is the outlier. Remember, she went down to 2. Most people are up in 10. There's several people that commented in here that are actually above 10. And they're actually happy with it, which is, again, good for them. This is, if I take issue with anything Lisa said, it would be this right here. If you care about people's health, it would be more helpful if you learned about Inspire instead of making sarcastic comments trashing it. I don't think any of my comments trashing it were sarcastic. They were very much based on the research data that Inspire provided and collected, as well as from the FDA, as well as the weird European journal.
In Lisa's comment, everything's fine. Everything's fine. The one thing that bothers me is this comment right here, that if I actually cared about people's health. The whole reason I started this channel is because I care about people's health. I have a lot of family members with obstructive sleep apnea. I myself have obstructive sleep apnea. I have some family members that have central sleep apnea. I'm looking for the best outcomes for everybody, including my family members that have it. I think there's been one person that I told this, but the reason I named my company AXG Sleep Diagnostics is that's the beginning initial of my wife and my children. And every time I see that name, it reminds me what this is all about, and that you, people that use my service, axgsleepdiagnostics.com, they are a mother, a father, a brother, a sister They are someone to someone else, and naming my company after my family reminds me of that every time I see it. So when I have someone question that I'm not looking out for people's health or that I don't care, that's pretty frustrating to me. And I do take that kind of personally, to be honest with you. I like to joke around a lot. People leave mean comments to me. I think they're largely funny, but the reason Lisa's comment actually kind of bothers me is because I think she's being serious. So when I do things like make a critical video of Inspire and I cite the data, I don't cite, oh, your left hand was over here, your right hand was over here. Do you see that? I just said left hand and I moved my right hand. See, I mess up on that stuff.
Yeah, I pointed to the wrong side of my chest. I'm hella sorry about that, but I'm a left-hander and I pledge allegiance to the flag, and I go to the right side of my chest, or left side of my body. My bad.
If I wanted, who cares about that? It doesn't change the function of Inspire and in how Inspire works. It doesn't matter where Inspire is implanted. I'm looking at the numbers. A 10 AHI for any member of my family is not good enough for me. My father having an AHI of 10 would not be good enough for me. I would not advise him to do that. I wouldn't do it myself. Initially, my dad was not compliant with Cpap. He had a difficult time with it. He now is because he's had some follow-up from me. He didn't get it from his providers. He didn't get it from his doctor. He didn't get it from anyone who does his Cpap follow-ups. He didn't have any Cpap follow-ups. That's where most people are, and that's why most people fail Cpap, bilevel, ASV.
All of that said, Lisa, I do appreciate your comments. I really, really do appreciate it because all in all, I think you presented your side very respectfully, and I do appreciate that. So thank you. So next we have Alan. Alan was actually the gentleman that is in the Inspire video, and I did use him twice in the video. So he agrees that Cpap is the best non-invasive solution to treat Cpap if you can tolerate it. And again, Alan, thank you very much for sharing your story. I do appreciate it. What I fail to acknowledge is that more than half of the users that have been prescribed Cpap don't use it, are non-compliant, or use regularly to receive its benefits. What are they supposed to do? So sorry to do this again, but I have a strong opinion that there are so many people that fall through the cracks because of extremely poor Cpap follow-up. Once they have the mask in the machine, the follow-up is really what's your apnea-hypopnea index and what is your overall leak data. That is terrible to go off of. I've done so many PAP therapy analysis reviews with people that prove low AHI on a Cpap machine is absolutely meaningless. You have to look at it with time-stamped leak data to see if there are leak spikes and mouth opening. You have to evaluate if the pressure is correct. You have to evaluate if the mode of therapy is correct. So many people are over-titrated, under-titrated, on the wrong mode of therapy, have massive mouth leaks, or 2 or 3 of all of those combined. And those are the people that are failing it. So I say there's probably a good large handful of those that are actually quite appropriate for Cpap and could make a few minor changes and be successful with it. Alan also says he attempted Cpap several times, several years, trying different masks and machines. I'm wondering if you just had a mouth leak. I'm wondering if you're on the wrong pressure. I don't know if you were. I'm just asking the question. I wonder if something could have been better with it. So he said he's not feeling comfortable with the hoses and the headaches that we would get from tightening the straps to prevent air leaks. So tightening of straps is probably the last thing you want to do to prevent leaks. And I'm guessing the leaks were coming from your mouth. And if you're having headaches, that's definitely a clear sign that you're under titrated or over titrated, resulting in central sleep apnea, or on the other side, obstructive sleep apneas or hypopneas. Now, again, I don't know Alan. I don't know what his medical history was, but he couldn't tolerate Cpap. So I definitely believe you. I don't know if you had the UPPP prior to Cpap. If you did, that would have definitely account for you not being able to tolerate Cpap. If you did it after, though, it's a horrible surgery anyway, so I'm not surprised it didn't work. Then he does mention here he tried different devices. I'm wondering if the pressures, again, were not right, or the leak. I don't see anything about leak in here. Then he tried a dental device, extending the jaw. I mean, it's a good example of doctors doing stuff that they shouldn't do. To qualify for the Inspire Sleep, you have to be in the moderate to severe range. Dental devices are only good. They have a success rate of 74% if you are in the mild range. So him even having a dental device made, that was kind of a dick move by the dentist or physician that made the oral appliance, because statistically, they're not going to work at all for someone in the mild to severe range. So this kind of goes against Lisa above, her claim that doctors only do things that are going to be successful in the best interest of the patient. Disagree, because here's a good example of that. So right here we have proof that he was in the severe range of AHI, should not have ever tried a dental device. My God. So Alan is also saying that after he went from an AHI of 52 to 3, he's no longer sleepy and he's doing great. His wife is happy. He's all good. He's very happy. And I'm happy for Alan, 100%. No sarcasm there. If it works for you, that is fantastic. Again, though, the data suggests that is not going to be this successful for most of the people. So Lisa had one little thing at the end that really bothered me. This kind of bothers me that Alan put this. Thank you for the support. And that is support. I kind of think he was being sarcastic, and I only say that because of this, even though you took it out of context. I don't think I really took it out of context. And I say that because of this spot right here. This is what I played in the video.
Without disturbing your sleep.
It's nothing that hurts. It just lets you know, hey, it's on.
That's where I stopped it. Here is the full thing with Alan. This is what I took out of context.
It's nothing that hurts. It just lets you know, hey, it's on. Once I'm asleep, I never feel it again until I wake back up.
In the morning,
That's it. That's what you said I took out of context? Dude, come on. The whole point was that you feel it when you turn it on, and that's exactly what I said in the video. And then you said you can't feel it again once you're asleep. Of course you can't feel it when you're asleep, because you're asleep. And then yes, I did do it again at the very end of the video, trying to be funny with a little zappy, sparky sound of electricity.
Now, if you have to shock the absolute hell out of yourself every time you breathe in,
it's nothing that hurts. It just lets you know, hey, it's on.
So you know what? Me adding the little zappy sound in there was for comedic effect. Come on, that was kind of funny. A little bit? No? Okay, sorry. That said, it's not taken out of context. The whole point is, you know it's there when you turn it on. You can feel it. That's it. Don't read into it any more than that.
But I genuinely don't think I took you out of context, but sorry if you feel I did. And then I think the last one I'm going to show is Dick Stagnoni. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But here's another one in support of Inspire, because CPAP sucks, more than 50%. So saying Inspire is good because CPAP's not good and 50% of CPAP users bail on it. And that it's minor compared to other sleep surgeries. Yeah, I would agree. It is minor compared to other sleep surgeries. I still think the MMA, the maxillomandibular advancement, is probably a better solution. It does the exact same thing and opens up a lot more space overall without an implant. But I answered again with, in my opinion, 50% failure has little to do with CPAP as a treatment and more to do with terrible follow-up of people put on CPAP. My whole beef with Inspire is simply the data that they use to get FDA approved. The data suggests that the AHI is 10, and my premise also is that CPAP is failed more than it should because of poor follow-up from people that are on CPAP, people that are on bilevel, people that are on ASV. Very poor follow-up results in very poor outcomes. So the failure rate of CPAP, I believe, is artificial because really there's no money in following up with these people. So the failure rate is going to be higher. So in the spirit of giving people that use Inspire a platform to share their experience, this is from the Singular Sleep website. Has to do with the Inspire Sleep device. It was a blog written by Dr. Joseph K. Just so we have balance in people who have had Inspire. And if we scroll to the bottom, we can read more comments by people that are on Inspire. I would think twice, make that 3 times before implanting the device. I wish I had. Immediately after one was implanted in me last summer, most of my body shut down. I was in critical condition with acute pulmonary edema and other serious problems. I was on a respirator in an ICU for quite a while. After effects continued. I missed work for the entire second half of 2019. Dave Moe writes, I can't get a decent night's sleep. This is with Inspire. The tongue stimulation wakes me up. I suffer with dry mouth, throat irritation, swallowing difficulty, and speaking problems. I'm trying to make it work, but I'm getting discouraged. This is Inspire. Hans writes, I had Inspire implanted early 2017. First AHI decreased, then it went up. I couldn't sleep without medication due to voltage stimulation. Algorithm seems weird, but they don't like to admit it. Didn't lose weight as well, which was the idea. Didn't sleep better and couldn't tolerate it well. I asked the doc again to allow me to try CPAP, which was strangely refused. Bought myself another CPAP, and now AHI and sleep are back in control. I don't recommend Inspire. Ed says, Inspire is a terrible company to deal with. I had my surgery done over a year ago, and I had problems ever since. Every time I've gone back to them to do an adjustment to make it right, not only did they not fix the problem, they charged me an extraordinary amount each time. Even though they said it was stuff they had to do to adjust to make it work right, I still don't sleep. I can't sleep, and I can't get anybody from the company to return my phone calls. That's nice. Another Inspire user. I've had Inspire for 1.5 years. I'm very unhappy with my Inspire. It's impossible to get a good night's sleep with the device on. It causes severe dry mouth. During the day, my tongue does not work correctly. I have difficulty talking. How do I get this device removed? Another Inspire user. I had an Inspire Model 2500 implanted in 2017, and an inability to tolerate CPAP and bilevel. Inspire has only been slightly helpful. A major side effect has been discomfort and swelling of my tongue. A recent sleep study revealed central sleep apnea. Shall I have the Inspire removed and start over with a new sleep clinic?
Okay, that's all we have time for at this point. Hopefully this video was valuable in giving the users of Inspire a platform and a chance to air their grievances with my original video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm gonna link to it at the very end of this video, and I'm gonna put it in the description box down below. If you feel you may be one of those CPAP users falling into the realm of failure, check out my website, axgsleepdiagnostics.com. We'll do a one-on-one PAP therapy analysis, and we'll come up with an action plan to see if we can help right the ship. I will say this though, my opinions of Inspire are still the same. I still think it's a crap device. I still wouldn't advise anyone get it. But that being said, I have to acknowledge that it does work for some people. For all the people that wrote, I appreciate you sharing your opinions, and I do appreciate you sharing your stories. So thank you very much for that. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye.
Everyone's too embarrassed to say it. Your mask stinks really bad. Get some Maskbright at maskbright.com or Amazon. Thank you to all watching, but an extra thick thanks, buddy, to Ray Troutman, Sarvesh Joshi, Stuart Hetherington, and Mona Swearingen. And thank you to my other level Patreon supporters as well as my YouTube members. So, and I'm saying maybe CPAP's not in fact maybe
Hypoglossal nerve stimulation device. My God, I can't speak.